Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Today, we are diving into another new moon. And the last time we saw each other was about a month ago for the Aries new moon. And we talked about that, kicking off the new cycle, the new year, all of that good stuff. So I hope that you've all been, very well, capitalizing on that Aries energy to get the ball moving and start off your cycle the right way. For me, like last time I talked to you guys, I let you know that I had left my 9-to-5 job. Actually, I had put in my notice on the Pisces new moon, and my official last day was on April 1st, which was the Aries new moon. So I've been aligning a lot of my moves with what's happening astrologically and also with these new and full moon energies, because it does help a lot. So since then, I've been in like just a space of taking a break. I didn't turn on my computer for weeks. I still don't want to turn on my computer. I still have found myself just in a space of reflection, resting, retreating. And I think that that's when the magic happens. So just honoring this time to take the space that I need to, get what I need to get information wise, downloads wise, everything wise. So that's why I have been missing in action, but I wanted to definitely come on here and give you some quick information about what to expect for the Taurus new moon, solar eclipse, what to keep in mind, because I know a lot of you look to, YouTube, you look to people like myself to give guidance in these times in order to capitalize on the energy or heal or manifest or set intentions, whatever you're doing with this energy. I know you like having this information. So let's talk about this upcoming new moon solar eclipse. Like, if you're new to astrology, you're like, what's the big deal about a solar eclipse? And a solar eclipse, in short, is the new moon is already a time where the sun and the moon are aligned, they're conjoined, they are teamed up in one area, and they're focusing all their energy. They're coming together and saying, we're going to align our goals here, right? And then you have an eclipse, a solar eclipse, which happens only during a new moon when there is a specific alignment with the sun, moon, and the earth, right? And that alignment is definitely potent. A solar eclipse is all about external changes. It is all about in your face change that you cannot ignore, that you cannot see, that you can see. I was going to say that you cannot see, but that didn't make any sense. Changes that you can see, I wouldn't say necessarily immediately, but pretty quickly. Solar eclipses tend to have effects in as little as 6 weeks, and it kind of plays out for the next, from 6 weeks to 6 months and up to a year sometimes. So it's long lasting changes, but the changes that you see come in, pretty rapidly. Whereas, the opposite, which are lunar eclipses, those are focused during the full moon, and those eclipses are more internal, and they kind of take longer for you to see. It's more about internal changes and transformations and shifts happening, which then do eventually affect the external, but because it happens internal, you can't see it for a long time, even though the change and the stuff is happening there. So we have the solar eclipse now with this Taurus new moon, then it's going to be followed by the Scorpio full moon that's coming up in mid-May, like we're moving out of April, in mid-May, and that is going to be more of that internal. All right, you can also think of like the solar eclipses being that more masculine energy, and the lunar eclipses being more of that feminine energy, okay? But anyway, with this solar eclipse that's happening, it'll be, did I say the date? April 30th. It's going to be happening on April 30th. It's going to be happening at 4:28 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to also be happening at 10 degrees. That means the sun and the moon will be sitting at 10 degrees. And 10 degrees, when we look at degrees, we just want to take the information out of that from a numerology perspective. And so when we look at numerology, we always want to boil things down to a single digit number, unless it's a master number, right? So what we're looking at is the number 1, right? 10 is the number 1 really in numerology. And that is all about new starts, new beginnings. It's a new cycle. Something new is being ushered in. And I said with solar eclipses, we're talking about dramatic external changes that often come in and it sets off something new. So this is right in line with the energy that is coming in, all right? When we talk about Taurus, when we talk about a new moon in Taurus, usually when we have a new moon, this is when we're setting our intentions, right? This is when we're putting things into motion. But because of the solar eclipse having those effects anyway, this is a time where I would say, like, this is not the time to really be setting anything new into motion in terms of manifestations or setting your intentions out there, because of the volatility around this particular new moon or solar eclipse. And the volatility I'm speaking about is that Taurus, this is where the sun and the moon are aligned for this new moon or solar eclipse, is really all about, you know, our security, our stability. It's about our resources. It's about our money. It's about our values. It's even about the talents or the gifts, the natural gifts and abilities that we have that we use to bring in resources into our lives or make money or anything like that. So Taurus encompasses all of these things. It's really earth energy. So it's really about the material. It's about mastering the physical realm. And the volatility here is Uranus. Uranus is going to be conjunct this new moon and really having a big or major impact with this eclipse energy. Eclipses are already a time of dramatic, you know, changes in terms of events and stuff like that and transformation. But when you have something like your Uranus sitting so close to this new moon and influencing it, this is the planet, Uranus is the planet or the energy that embodies just change too. But it is the great awakener in the sense that the changes are unexpected, they're volatile, it's all over the place, it's not steady. It is like having a friend and your friend is, you know, you're driving a car and your friend is in the passenger seat and you're just driving down the road, you've got your directions, you're following, you're just smooth, you know, smooth sailing along, and all of a sudden your friend grabs the wheel and hard yanks right? Turns the wheel right, and then you guys just start going down a new path and you're like, what the hell, where did that come from? Why'd you grab the wheel? Where we're going? You know, that is kind of what Uranus comes in and brings. It just kind of just changes things up really, really fast, and it's unexpected, it's all over the place. And when you have a sign like Taurus that wants stability and security and comfort and wants to firmly plant and can't because you have Uranus, you know, just kind of coming in like and just changing things all the time, that's an agitator, right? So this solar eclipse is going to be something that I feel like is going to be rocky in terms of the energy that it brings. It's not going to be stable. It's going to be all over the place. And so because of that volatility, and when I say, you know, it's going to be unstable and it's going to be volatile, it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It's just an uncomfortable thing. And that's why I don't want you to like firmly attach yourself to setting a particular intention or putting something out there, because it's probably not going to root. It's like you're going to be trying to plant your seeds, or, you know, put your seed right here in this spot because you want it to grow here. And it's like Uranus is going to come in with that shovel and kick it up, throw that seed up, and it lands like 10 feet away and it starts growing over there. And you're like, what the hell? I didn't mean for it to land there. I wanted it to land here and grow here, right? And so that's what you got to expect with this type of energy. And I hope that you're following kind of some of the analogies that I'm bringing into play here. But let's talk about a little bit about collectively what that means in terms of this solar eclipse coming in and changing things, especially centered or concentrated in a sign like Taurus, which rules our natural resources, like I said, our money, things like that, our values. Like, there is definitely going to be shifts, not just with us individually, but collectively, where our values, you're going to see even more dramatic turns in our collective values. You're going to see even more dramatic terms and volatility and things happening with our natural resources, with our earth, with the weather, with our money. Money is something that is just, it's going to be under dress. And we've seen that, money has been changing, right? We've seen that it's been changing. Certain things are being phased out, new things are coming in, and I feel like this energy is going to like shift it even more. So keep your eye on resources. Resources are going to be important, and natural resources. We're talking about gas, we're talking about wood, we're talking about water, we're talking about precious metals, stones, all of that type of stuff, anything, food, all of that is resources, our natural resources. So just keep your eyes on a lot of the things that are going to be taking place around that. And also the weather. The weather is another big one, because this is Uranus. Uranus comes in and really shakes up weather patterns when it's in the sign of Taurus. Now, with Taurus and Scorpio being kind of like the new themes of these upcoming eclipses, we had our first Taurus Scorpio eclipse back in November of 2021, when we had this Taurus full moon then. So we had a Taurus lunar eclipse, right? Now this is like the second eclipse of that series of Taurus and Scorpio eclipse energy, which is really about balancing or focusing on the material world, or the physical, tangible aspects, versus the immaterial or the non-physical or spiritual world. So there is a balancing act happening, and there is a lot of dramatic change that's going to be happening between those two realms in order to balance things out. And like I said, this is going to be the second eclipse, followed by the third eclipse, which is going to be the lunar eclipse happening in mid-May, all right? And we also are going to be having Mercury retrograde. There's just going to be a lot going on, and then also retrograde season's about to kick off in general. So, we're going to have Pluto retrograding. We're going to have a lot of things that are going to be taking place. So this is really a time to not really be out there, trying to attach or affix to this energy, because you're not going to be able to, like hold on to it or attach something firmly to it. I think the best use of this energy is a time to just have a seat and spend time, because this is earth energy. Taurus energy is really earth energy. I know they say Taurus is ruled by Venus, and I do think Venus has some influence, but I really think that earth really is what is over Taurus energy. So grounding yourself, rooting yourself internally, making sure that you're strong and rooted, so that whatever is blowing around you, if Uranus, this solar eclipse and Uranus energy comes and spins a tornado in, and everything around you is being destroyed and everything around you is changing where you can't recognize it, you are still firmly rooted and planted within. Okay, so that is what you need to be using this energy for: reflection, grounding yourself, releasing it, control, and just allowing yourself to kind of flow through the changes of it all. Because the one thing that is constant in life is change. That is it. There is no such thing as real security. There's only internal security. There's no outside security. So no matter what job you have, no matter what house you have, no matter what family you have, doesn't matter, because all of those things can disappear in a blink of an eye. Your house can burn down tomorrow. Your job can disappear tomorrow. Your money in your bank account could disappear. You know what I mean? None of that stuff. There is no real security. The only security we have is the peace of mind and what we have within us. That's the only thing that we can control. So one more thing that I'm going to mention before wrapping this video is that I think it's really important for you to pay attention to where these eclipses are happening in your chart. So you want to look at your natal and transit chart. I always leave the link in the description box down below, and pay attention to where Taurus and Scorpio are on your chart, right? They're going to be opposite each other on your chart because they're polarities. So what houses are they falling in for you? Because these are the themes about the solar eclipse that's going to be happening on the 30th, and then the mid-May eclipse that's going to be happening in Scorpio. All right, so these are the themes that are going to be coming into play. These where the transformations are going to happen in these particular areas of life. So if you have first house and seventh house where Taurus and Scorpio are falling in your chart, a lot of the themes that or changes or transformation that you're about to see taking place is around your self-identity, and also the identity that you have in relationships. So your relationships and also things within yourself are going to be shifting and changing, okay? So pay attention to that. Again, if you have second house and eighth house as Taurus and Scorpio, respectively, you're going to have a lot of changes around your own resources, your own individual resources, and also your shared resources with others, okay? So a lot of things can be changing around your resources that you want to pay attention to. Third and ninth house, okay? This is really about the higher and the lower mind aspects. The lower mind being your information processing, your communication, versus the higher mind, your wisdom. How do you take that information that you learn and apply it, okay? So there's going to be a lot of, testing of the faith, wisdom, different things like that is going to come into play with those two houses, all right? The fourth and the 10th house, if you have Taurus and Scorpio in these two houses, we're talking about your private life versus your public life transforming, okay? The home versus the career. This is what you're going to be seeing a lot of changes around here as well. The 5th and the 11th house, if you have Taurus and Scorpio here, we're going to be talking about themes around self-creation, things that you're creating yourself, creativities in how you shine as an individual in that aspect, versus group or shared creativity, what you create with others. So what you create on your own versus what you create with others, and a lot of things around that is definitely going to be transforming for you. And lastly, 6th and 12th house, if you have Taurus and Scorpio in the 6th and 12th house, these eclipses are going to definitely push the boundaries, push and transform and bring up a lot of stuff, especially with the physical and the spiritual, okay, which we kind of talked about a little bit, but it's really about your internal body versus your internal aspects of your mind, the inner workings of your mind. So there's a lot going on there, and that 12th house, that 6th house and 12th house eclipses can be wow. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I really do hope this was helpful, and that it gave you a little bit more information and insight on how you can, proceed with this upcoming, Taurus new moon and solar eclipse. I don't have anything else for you to do except for what I told you, which is to ground, root yourself, and get ready for whatever changes are about to happen. Get your mind together, get your mindset positive, because there is going to be a lot changing within your own individual life in those areas that I highlighted, but also externally on the world, level, on the world stage, on the collective stage. So we just have to flow with it all. We have to learn how to flow with it all, okay? So I hope you all have a great solar eclipse or new moon. Chill out, relax, get ready for also that lunar eclipse that is going to be following it, and retrograde season that's going to be coming as well. I will see you all in the next one. Love you guys, and see you soon. Peace.